Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes, yes, yes. Listen, one, I thought I would not be making another Clippers video literally till next year, but I told myself on determined on breaking news, I would make Clippers content. And I'm here to make Clippers content. And oh my freaking god. This was some freaking great news for Clipper Nation. Because so many people have alluded to why we lost to the Denver Nuggets. And that was because of Doc effing Rivers. And I said it in my Game 7, recap. Way back when, 2-3 weeks ago. I said, I'm sorry. I can't. Doc Rivers needs to be fired because that's 2 times with the Clipper organization. He's had a 3-1 lead and they let him and he just let another team get back on you. And more importantly, this time felt even worse than last time. Also, can I just say this? What did I say the Lakers were going to do to the damn Nuggets? They beat them in 5 games. They made that dang team look inept. Yeah, you're telling me the freaking Clippers couldn't do the same thing. They had their chances to finish them off in 5 games, fool. They were in the same position, the Lakers had the Nuggets in. But this time, the difference was this. The Lakers finished them off. You want to know why? Because the difference was Doc Rivers, his dummy self wanted to stick to his guts, wanted to go out there and just wanted to make sure and know that his way is the right way. And what happened? It got us another blown lead in Clipper history. And because of it, boom. We're sitting out. We had Laker fans mocking us for the much of the next thing. Now, Clipper Nation, I swear, they're up in arms on Twitter. I kid you not. I was asleep taking a nap. And I woke up and I saw Chris Move's, video in my subscriptions. And I saw that it says Doc Rivers officially out as LA Clippers head coach. And I went to Twitter and lo and behold, I confirmed. I saw ESPN tweet about it, and all these other Clipper fans I follow start tweeting about it. And oh my god, I was so happy because I was afraid that the Clippers would not do it. Heck, there was articles from Chris B. Haynes saying that it was more than likely the Clippers would bring back Doc Rivers and stuff like that. I'm like, you can't bring him back as much as the next guy, and it's like, well, if he gets brought back, it's obviously because Kawhi wants him back. But no, they were not. They were like, sorry, they definitely went to Kawhi, and Kawhi probably did have some input put in there. Definitely did. More than likely, they gave a call to Kawhi and been like, hey, did this work out? And he was like, and he probably said, no. And the Clipper organization probably told him, hey, listen, Doc Rivers has been here. We know you came here because of Doc Rivers, but listen, he didn't get the job done here. He's been here for about, 7 years. He's had teams of the likes of Chris Paul leading this Clipper organization. And this is 2 times he's blown 2-3-1, he's blown more 3-1 leads, but this is the 2nd time he's blown 3-1 leads. He had Clipper teams like lined up to win freaking championships. And I think this was the breaking straw. Honestly, to me, I couldn't see why you would retain him for next year. Because it's like, no, I would not bring him back. If he didn't get it done with this team, which was clearly a lot of people's title favorites, why would you bring him back if he was going to do the same thing? And before I talk more about this thing, can I just give a round of applause to my favorite sports teams? Now, I am a Bears fan, if you haven't seen my content about the Bears. And what happened with the Bears the last 24 hours? What happened? Oh wait, Mitchell Trubisky finally got benched after freaking seeing his no-playing self. And I was so happy because now he's gone. He's going to be gone in only a few more months. And now, the Clippers have finally seemed to wake up and realize the root of their problem. And now they're just going to have to fix that problem by putting somebody else who will do a better job than Doc Rivers and addressing the needs on this team. And then guess what? You'll be back to being title contenders again. So the Clippers made me happy. So to say the fact that the two of my favorite teams have done really good things in the last 24 hours or around now, it's great. And now, if the Angels, which they had a start in firing Billy Epler as the GM, can they freaking get some pitching? Get a GM that will get in some pitching? And if that happens, my day is made as a team, as an Angels fan as well, and all my teams will be fine as can be. Now, in terms of the Bears, I know they'll still let me down, but okay, anyways, we're not here to talk about my Bears or my Angels. We're here to talk about the Clippers. I said it in my game recap. This was a move the Clippers had to do. And unless Kawhi Leonard and Paul George said, nah, we really want him. More than Kawhi Leonard said, nah, I really want him here. I came here for him, but, you know, but at the same time, I could see where the organization is like, Kawhi, we know that. But this is our organization. We run the show here. You play for us. We need you. Your job here is to bring us our first championship. We understand the accolades and stuff. We risked everything to get you here. We traded away half our future. We were expected to get to the Western Conference Finals, if not the finals this year. And what happened? Nothing. Doc Rivers, with teams led by Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard, could not get the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. It was about time for him to go. And there's more evidence. You can clearly see Doc Rivers, the way he coached, he rather coached to play more veteran players than play young players. When Zubac was so much better than frickin' Trez, he continued to play Trez more minutes. In terms of, you know, people bring up the fact that, well, Zubac didn't have enough conditioning to play, you know, those minutes in the frickin' playoffs. You wanna know why? Because Doc Rivers didn't close out games with Zubac at the center position. He insisted to go with Trez and play him damn near 30 minutes, closing out second halves, really. Well, of course, that's not going to prepare Zubac for the playoff, for them playoff minutes to be well conditioned. So hopefully whoever comes in next as the head coach, hopefully it's more than likely going to be Ty Lue, depending if he's not going to run the same thing like Doc Rivers does. And like I said, hopefully the next head coach will play Zubac in those closing minutes to make him be prepared for the playoff push and make him get conditioned. Another young player on this team, Doc Rivers really didn't care. He had issues, you know, finding himself. Landry Shamet. 2019 Landry Shamet was great for the Clippers. 2020 Landry Shamet was like, literally, what the F was wrong with you? Every time he didn't do much of anything, Doc Rivers just pulled him back, took him off the court, and just let him sit there, and he didn't do much of anything. Because Doc Rivers does not like playing young players. He likes sticking his guns to his old freaking intuition and his old veteran players he trusts, instead of going with the smart decisions and going out there to put his team in position to win. Another thing, when you look at this entire 2020 playoff run, what is one thing you can say the Clippers 9 out of 10 times, if not 10 out of 10 times, failed to do against the Dallas Mavericks and the Denver Nuggets especially, but they did it every few now and then. And that was Doc Rivers adjusting to what the Dallas Mavericks were. Dallas Mavericks are the Denver Nuggets were giving him. And what I mean is this: just from the standpoint of who was in the game and you know, who wasn't playing. And then you come out in press conference saying things like, I don't like to run the Lou, Trez, Reggie lineup. I really don't like to run it. I'm trying to avoid that. But in that same Dallas series when he said that, I still see that lineup being played on the court. So you're obviously being hypocritical to your own statement you're saying in the press conferences. So that doesn't add up to begin with. Two, what doesn't add up to begin with, he was terrible at adjusting the center minutes. When we knew that, oh wait, this is a clear mismatch for Trez. Doc Rivers, maybe you should get Montrezl Harrell out of there. No, but because Montrezl Harrell won the 6th Man of the Year award, he wants to go out there and stick to his freaking guns and say, no, Montrezl Harrell with my guy. He's going to go out there and he's going to go smack on guys like Boban and Jokic. But that never happened, right? Because Boban was actually looking like a dang great player against Trez, and Jokic was just doing whatever he wanted. But against Zubac, Jokic was still getting crazy, unbelievable shots and still doing his thing. But at the end of the day, it was much more of a tougher, assignment for him to deal with than Trez. I'm not trying to say, Zubac ain't know what the tree trunks of the freaking Lakers center players were, like an Anthony Davis. But Jesus, the way they did him, the Clippers organization was looking like, whoa. So you're telling me all we had to do was get big against Jokic and we would have at least frustrated him? What's going on here, Doc? And that's what I felt like done him in. He didn't adjust. All playoffs. He was terrible at adjustments all playoffs. And then that leads into the Game 7. Instead of getting Zoo right back in the game, it got, the story. I'm not even going to go through it because it just pisses me off. Another thing is, his lineup decisions at times were just fucking confusing. You would have some lineups out there that you're like, dude, what are we running? And it's like, could we please change that? Could we please call a timeout and change something? When you would need to call a timeout to prevent a run from going on. He never did it. He just stuck to his guns and he's like, my team will get through it because they're a bunch of tough guys. Nah, Doc. They need to freaking get a timeout and let it be called to the aspect of, wait, slow up roll, guys. Come on. Let's get back into the thing. Listen, let's do what he do. As well as he had no offensive scheme, which is probably the last thing I mentioned. No offensive scheme whatsoever. There was no offensive scheme. You want to know what the offensive scheme for the Clippers was? Give the ball to Kawhi or Paul George and let them do what they want. You guys do whatever you want. And yeah, there was no offensive scheme. There was no play set up for others. There wasn't no instant to go back to maybe a pick and roll during the playoffs. You don't sit players when they're clearly not doing frickin' well and just benching them, even if they're frickin' done good things like a Lou Williams or a Montrezl Harrell. Instead of benching those guys, you want to keep playing them. This was it. And I believe the writing was on the wall when, listen, don't forget, guys, do not forget this. Jerry West is a special consultant to the Clippers. He knows his basketball stuff. And there has been words even before he came here, way back in 2019, there was wording of how he did not like Doc Rivers and he did not want to keep Doc Rivers going forward for this organization. You got to think about it, Clipper fans. Jerry West is a special consultant. He did not like Doc Rivers. And there is a reason why he didn't. Because he felt like Doc Rivers wasn't the idle coach to lead this team. And if you still believe Jerry West has nothing to do with at least making a move of this, I guarantee you Jerry West had something to do with this as well. Because he wasn't a fan of Doc Rivers when he first came to the Clippers. Initially, he wanted Doc Rivers out of here. So you can't, you gotta think about that aspect too. But like I said, Steve Ballmer, knowing him, and I listened to the Locked On Clippers podcast, when they had the Ralph Lawler thing, and Ralph Lawler was talking about, like, yeah, Steve Ballmer, he may be a funny guy, but at the same time, he's a no-nonsense guy. You already know Steve Ballmer's like, I've been here, since I took over this organization, and all I've seen you do is not get our Clippers past the second round. You're gone too. And Lawrence Frank, he's the GM of the team. He's got to cut ties. He's like, we're just looking at history. We had our chance. We had chances, man. You had all these players. So say you had all-star caliber players. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. That's some of the best players he's ever coached in his entire career. And you're telling me the only team he's able to win a championship for is the 2008 Celtics, there's some people saying even that championship he won was overrated. But he couldn't take two Clipper teams with superstars on their team to either a Western Conference Finals or a NBA Finals. I really do believe if back in 2015, if they had beaten the Rockets, they go to the NBA Finals to challenge the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who knows what the outcome of that series would have been, but that would have been the first time the Clippers went to the NBA Finals. And if this team had just went to the Western Conference Finals, even in defeat to the Lakers, if they just went to the Western Conference Finals, guess what? You're like, okay, we were this close to winning a championship. We just have to run it back next year and we'll have to try it again. But we're on the track. And the writing was on the wall. We can't, I said it, you can't go. You got to let him go. You have to let him go. Doc Rivers has been here way too long enough to have these Clipper teams, other than that 1 year, which was the 2019 team, have that 1 year where he had a title contending team. And now he's gone. And I'm happy. And to the joy of Clipper Nation, they are happy as well for the fans that were finally tired of Doc Rivers coaching this team. Now the search, along with who are we going to find as our backup, center? Are we going to get the playmaking point guard we would need, and stuff like that, the other needs? Now we need a coach. Please stay away from a coach named Mike D'Antoni. Apparently that's what I heard, Stan Van Gundy is another coaching option. Please stay away from him too. If you ask me personally, like I said, depending the Clippers organization talk to me like, listen, we need a coach who knows to make these adjustments mid-game and mid-series in the playoffs. Can you do it? And if Ty Lue is willing to do that along with run an offensive system along with the defensive system, because, guess what? I say, hell, F it. Go frickin' sign Ty Lue. Ty Lue, if you ask me, to be honest, he's probably should be the Clippers' top priority. It just essentially be a promotion because he was an assistant coach. Just essentially promote him to head coach. I think Ty Lue wouldn't mind coming here and coaching this team. And like I said, hopefully if Ty Lue gets hired or any other coach that we don't know gets hired, honestly, if you ask me, Ty Lue would probably be on my top list. And this might actually be a shocker. I say the Clippers should actually think about trying to sign Kenny Atkinson. Now, the reason why is he never got a fair chance with the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Because morally, those two kind of alienated him out of the organization. But we know Kenny Atkinson, he makes his teams play hard. And I think that could be a nice type of coach that the Clippers could have. I thought, I thought he would be a solid head coach because he'll get the most out of his players and he'll make his players want to play and step up and stuff like that. So I say, Kenny Atkinson would be a good hire, No one coming from that Nets background, he started back for the Nets 2019 where, he helped them get to the playoffs. Who said he couldn't do wonders with a good, team like this? So those are I don't know who my third candidate would be, but honestly, if you ask me as a Clipper fan, those would be my two top coaching candidates. So, it is what it is. Again, I will say this. Thank you to Doc Rivers for what you done for the Clippers. Really do. You put this team on the map, and you helped us get to where we're at today. And to say that the Clippers wouldn't be here without him, yeah, that's just asinine to say. But listen, it was time. It was time to go. If I had enough of Doc Rivers and other Clipper fans had enough of Doc Rivers, I think the organization had enough of time of Doc Rivers. And we're going to have a new head coach coaching the helm. Because we need to make the Western Conference Finals. We need to make the Western Conference Finals. And if we do not do this in this tenure with Kawhi Leonard or Paul George here, this, to say that the Clippers might never be ever again put in this position again, it might be idealistically true, because it just takes that one time to make sure it's like, oh, well, you have some other players, over time be like, the going to the Clippers isn't bad. They have success and they've had history. And like I said, it's about time he's gone. He's had his time. It's time to bring in it's time to get a new voice in. And maybe wake these players up. And hopefully, as well as get a new voice in, hopefully these players, hopefully the coach makes these players on this team, like, shut up and play. Like, I'm serious. Just shut up and play. Like, I hope the coach comes in, gets these guys down and be like, no. We're not doing the talking. Shut up. Go out there, play the way I want you to run the team, and we'll go to victory. But for the talking, shut up. Because talking last year didn't get you nowhere. It got your asses embarrassed. Anyways, I sat here, talked 22 minutes about this Doc Rivers coaching thing. I'm probably going to go back on Twitter and look at this. This is probably like the most entertaining I wanted to be on Twitter since day one. Since day one. Since yesterday, since Mitch Trubisky finally got him benched. I was happy. Now Doc Rivers is gone. I'll probably make an update video depending on who gets hired as the Clippers head coach. But man, talk about an earthquake. There was no earthquake this time, but this was an earthquake-like move. So, sayonara and good riddance, Doc Rivers. See you on the door. Or, well, that statement. I'm not going to say it. Hopefully the door doesn't hit your ass on the way out. So, good riddance. Hopefully you don't mess up another team by not making critical adjustments. But at the same time, thank you for what you gave us, If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we're at today. We wouldn't have guys like Chris Paul, stay probably longer than expected. And we definitely would not have Kawhi Leonard or Paul George come here. So, other than that, I'm going to get out of here. No, till then, guys, I'll see you guys in the next Clipper video, which will probably be whenever we decide to hire a new coach. So, other than that, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully, you guys are having a great rest of your day. And don't worry, Clipper Nation. Things may be dark for now, especially with those damn Lakers going to the NBA Finals and probably going to win it all, and their Lakers are going to be back on their timelines on Twitter, shit-talking us again. But guess what? Brighter days are coming soon. Brighter days will be coming soon, and we'll be back. I can believe that. But this time, let's not do much of the talking. Let's actually back up our talk. And let's actually go out there and work hard. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.